Hello everybody, let's have a look at some of these coins, especially Bitcoin. So we'll do Bitcoin now, then we'll move on to some other altcoins on some other videos, so stay tuned if you're interested. So to start with then, obviously we all know we fell down here, we rocketed from this area here, which actually when you look at it on the weekly, it was the 50 EMA more or less, the 50 EMA is more or less where it rocketed from. You can argue that it was actually the bottom of the Bollinger Band, but in between the two of them. So that's an area just above 8,000, okay? 8,000 is going to be not just a psychological limit for us, but it's also going to be a relatively strong limit with this EMA being there on the weekly. But the fact that the weekly looks quite so dismal would probably suggest that over time it's going to break down, and it will break down into the 7,000s. And the lowest I would expect it to go before a big bounce would be this area here, which is going to be on the 50 simple, but also at the top of this itchy cloud here. That's going to be 6,600. It's going to be that way for a little while. So we are on the weekly here. So until the end of October, basically, with that should hold up. Now, if we continue with, sort of bouncing on this area, which would be an interesting area to bounce on, because it's kind of that 6,000-ish area that we bounced from so many times on the way down with the previous bear market. And I'm not saying that we're in a bear market. We're still quite clearly way above where we started from, you know, at the beginning of the year. So let's not call it a bear market, but it's looking pretty bearish, which is fair to say. If we continue to bounce on this area and not actually regain any higher highs from this level, if we get to this level, that is, then yeah, there is an opportunity for us to fall below it, sort of in the November December area. Now, you know, this is all quite a way off, so let's have a look at where we are, sort of on a smaller time frame, see if we can get our heads around what it wants to do. Now, it has had quite a significant move, so it's changed its trend. You don't need me to tell you that, but because it's changed its trend so dramatically, we need to give it a little bit of time before sort of trying to really work out what sort of trend it wants to form from this area. Now, it stayed at this level here, thereabouts, around about between 8,200 to about 8. I think it peaked last night, didn't it? Yeah, 8,600. Yeah. So, you know, what's the highest area it's likely to get up to in this area? I would probably say, because we're between this one and this one, the highest we're going to reach is going to be 8,750 or 8,800 before we find another rejection. The fact is, we've been rejected from there on our first attempt on the daily, and that is basically the 200 EMA, and we're now beneath the 200 EMA, which is never a good sign for anyone to be ever underneath the 200 EMA. It's always pretty bearish when you're under there, but we are still above the 200 simple, which is, you know, it's something to hold on to, and we've been supported from there. You know, well, we broke down beneath it a bit yesterday, but you know, we're being supported from it today. But, you know, with a continuation down, it would appear. So I would say definitely leave this alone for the minute. Bitcoin doesn't know what it wants to do, even though it's probably going to be going down. There's going to be some moves up, there's going to be some moves down. It's not really a time to take a position, I would say, unless you're holding a position from up here, then good for you. But even if I got in at this level, and, you know, I sold up because I did expect to see a bigger bounce than this, and I still kind of do expect to see a bigger bounce, maybe trying to test this area of 9,000 even. When we look at it again on the 4 hourly, I believe it was. Let's have a look. That wasn't the 4 hourly. Oop, not that. Is it the hourly perhaps? Sorry, my mouse has got really sensitive today. I don't know what its problem is. Yeah, so on the hourly yesterday, we had our first pass at trying to attempt the top of the Bollinger Band. You know, I'd never really look at an hourly, but, you know, it's trying to do things on the hourly, and when something is as indecisive as this, you could start looking at it on smaller time frames. But again, I would definitely stress it's not really the time to take a trade, unless it's a very low leveraged one. You know, with you know, at certain levels, which I would probably say the levels, if you wanted to make a buy order, you'd want to be doing it, you know, where it was down here. If it trickled down to that level and it wasn't completely red on the way down, you could look at making a little long there, but it's risky. Again, at the same time, if it rockets up again to this level here or above, or I'd probably say this level here, which would be the top of the 200 EMA, which is currently 8,750. If it made it up there again, you could perhaps think about doing a short, but again, these are risky trades, and I'm not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice. These aren't things that I'm going to be doing, I can tell you that for now. What I'm really more interested in at this point is to see if it breaks down or breaks up, and what happens when it does that, and then we can sort of start talking about strategizing some kind of trade about there. But for the moment, it's going to be all over the place, I would expect, and it's not really something worth trading on. It's just worth waiting and watching, But that's my call, you do as you see fit. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. I hope that was useful to you, and I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.